Hello and welcome. Today, we are taking a guided tour of one of the most important and, let's be honest, sometimes confusing documents you get all year. I'm talking about your Notice of Assessment from the Canada Revenue Agency. So let's jump right in and demystify this thing. All right, so you did it. You gathered all your slips, you filled out all those boxes, and you finally hit submit on your tax return. You get that moment of relief, right? But it's usually followed by a big question. Now what? You're just waiting for the official word back from the government. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what that letter from the CRA actually is. Then, we'll find the bottom line result, the part everyone wants to see. After that, we'll decode the important details, see how you can use this thing to plan for next year, and finally, we'll talk about why it's such a crucial document to hang on to. Okay, first up, that official looking envelope or email notification that lands in your inbox from the CRA. This is definitely not junk mail. It's the government's official response to the tax return you just filed. This document has a name. It's called a Notice of Assessment, or NOA for short. You can think of it like the CRA's report card on your taxes. It basically summarizes everything you reported for that year and shows you exactly how they processed it. And you'll get one of these for every single tax return you ever file. So here's the number one rule, and it's a simple one. Whether it shows up as a paper copy in your mailbox or notification telling you to check your CRA My Account online, you need to open it right away. The information inside is just that important. All right, let's get to the good stuff. This is the part everyone is dying to know as soon as they get their hands on this document. What's the bottom line? When you get your NOA, your eyes probably dart around the page looking for one thing in particular, right? Well, it's usually right there on the first page inside a little box called the account summary. And this is it, the big reveal. Are you getting a refund? Do you owe more money? Or did it all just balance out to zero? The account summary gives you that answer straight up. Let's quickly break down what you're looking at. If you see an amount with CR next to it, that stands for credit. And that's fantastic news. It means you're getting a refund. But if you see DR, that's for debit, which means you have a balance to pay to the CRA. And of course, if you see a zero, you're all square. Easy as that. Okay, so now that we know the final result, it's time to dig into the details. This is where you get to understand how the CRA actually got to that number. This part is the tax assessment summary. It shows all the key lines from your return, your total income, your credits, and it really lays out the math the CRA used. Now, you want to pay close attention here because if the CRA made any changes to your return, the numbers you see here might not be a perfect match for what you sent in. And hey, if there are any differences, this next section is your best friend. It's called the Explanation of Changes, and it does exactly what it says. It details every single correction or adjustment the CRA made. Maybe they had slightly different information on file, or maybe you just missed a box. This section tells you exactly what went down. And this is a perfect example of why that section is so important. Take Melinda's story here. She noticed her refund was a bit smaller than she thought it would be. But instead of just shrugging, she checked the Explanation of Changes on her NOA. And boom, there it was. It said she forgot to send in the receipts for her medical expenses. So she sent in the documents, and guess what? The CRA adjusted her return and she got the rest of her money. It's a great example of how the NOA actually helps you fix things. Okay, so your NOA isn't just about looking backward at last year. It's actually a really powerful tool for planning your financial future, seriously. One of the most important numbers you'll find for planning ahead is your RRSP deduction limit. This tells you the maximum amount you can contribute to an RRSP and then deduct on next year's tax return. And that's a really key strategy for lowering your taxable income. You'll also spot your available contribution room. Now, this is the absolute max you can put into your RSSP for next year without getting penalized. It's super important to stay under this limit because if you go over, you could end up paying extra tax. And here's a little pro tip to make filing next year a breeze. Your NOA has an 8-character net file access code on it. When you're filing online next year, just pop in that code. It helps confirm your identity, and it just makes the whole process so much smoother, especially if you ever have to call the CRA. And finally, let's talk about why you need to treat your Notice of Assessment like gold. This is not a piece of paper you just glance at and then toss in the recycling bin. The bottom line is you've got to keep this document somewhere safe. Think of it like a master key to your financial life. You'll need it to prove who you are when you call the CRA. It's also the proof of income you'll need if you're applying for a loan or a mortgage. And of course, it has all that key info for next year's taxes, from your RRSP limit to things like unused tuition credits. And there you have it. Really understanding your NOA is a huge step toward feeling in control of your finances. As one of our sources put it so perfectly, that's one more thing your parents don't have to explain to you anymore. And that's a great feeling, isn't it? So the next time that letter from the CRA arrives, you won't see some confusing government form. You'll see a map. It's a summary of where you've been financially, and it's a guide for where you're going next. So the only real question left is, now that you have the map, what are you going to use it to plan for?